Cool. All right, in that case, let's just go. Hey, Matrix Live, Ben here, and I'm here with Manu from Element. Hello.
Hello, Ben. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad. Where in the world are you?
In Rennes, in
In
France.
in Rennes. Rennes is on the west coast, right? On the
Yes, in Brittany.
Cool. Is it pretty?
Oh, yes, sure, definitely. You can do a lot of things around. So it's still a small city with a lot of technical companies. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah. Is it? It's there's like a big university there or some such. Is that why there's so many companies?
also yes. So yes, it has been like that for 40 or 50 years.
Oh,
So
wow.
so that's why there is a really good ecosystem. Yeah.
Nice. So it's like the French tech hub.
Uh, yeah, so there are several places like that in France, but yes, one is one of them, and I think their focus now is on security.
Interesting. Okay, but it's when we say tech, it's our kind of tech, right? It's software and communications, this kind of thing.
Yes,
Yeah,
yeah,
fair enough. Okay, so what about you? You have been involved in Matrix and Vector and New Vector and Element for the whole time, I think.
yes, and even before,
Yeah.
I think I joined Amandine and Matthew's team
Yeah.
1 year before we starting to talk about a decentralization project. So at that time we did not have that name Matrix. So
Yeah.
so yes, I'm here from the beginning, and I saw how this project went crazy.
Yeah, amazing. And untitled decentralization project, it would have been.
Mm,
But your main focus is, the whole time is iOS, is that correct?
yes, so it started like that because I joined Amandine and Matthew's team to act as a fireman, I would say, on an iOS project. So yes, since then I'm focused on iOS.
Cool. But you've evolved into the mobile engineering manager, not just iOS, right?
Yeah, true. So yes, because I have I would say a long history on mobile. So before that, I was doing some Android thing, and I have been around the mobile development for 20 years now.
Wow.
So yes, I saw all those ecosystem.
Let's have some stories of
Oh
before
no,
then,
oh
because there must.
no,
No, you don't want to talk about
no. Yes,
pre
we can.
Android. What is there?
Uh,
It's Nokia
Symbian.
and yeah, Symbian.
Yes, yes. At that time, phone big players was Nokia, BlackBerry as well.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, and on the single, no, at that time there were three open OS where you can where third party can build a third party application to those OS. So there was Symbian, Windows Mobile, uh, Java MIPI or BlackBerry OS. But
Okay.
yes, it was 20 years ago.
What is J2ME? How does that fit into the picture? It was meant to be a compatibility layer in Java, or was
Yes,
it something else?
it was a smaller set of the Java specification, so that you at that time you were able to run a small VM within a mobile. But yeah, at that time the challenge was to be able to run a VM with on a small CPU,
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah,
which looks crazy.
yeah. I mean, it does. Looking back,
Discipline.
doesn't it? It seems wild that that was even attempted.
Yeah, and when I started working in this area, there was no color on phones.
Wow. Yeah.
Like,
That's cool. All right, let's let's fast forward a bit because
yeah,
there was no Matrix then either. So you still are kind of invested in the iOS world, right? You're the iOS lead as well as the mobile engineering manager.
yeah, true. So now the iOS team is something like we are 7 or 8
Yes,
working on iOS. So
it's
you
amazing.
saw, yes, you saw Stefan, Dave, Duke last week,
Yep.
but there is also Steve, Ismail, Gilles, and Philippe. And so yes. I'm a better position to support those all good people building stuff rather than coding by myself.
Yeah, I think so. And do you know what? We should do a Matrix Live en français because so much of the original team was French, weren't they?
Yes, true. So yes, at the very beginning of the Element company, we needed to hire people to build the team. So yes, at the very beginning, we hired people we know because that was easy.
Of course.
So we hired a lot of people from Rennes.
Yeah, I
So
mean that's where the network is. You've got to take advantage of that.
yeah, but
Let's-
it's not, yes, but people are coming from different countries now on mobile and in Element as well, which is really exciting.
Yeah, it's super, and I love seeing this much variety. I hope we get to meet the other developers as well because we only had 3 last week, but it's already a lot. Cool. Let's talk about the iOS product because the iOS product has been around since 2014, which is long for a single iOS app to survive that way. That said, you're making a mad amount of changes now. With the growth of the team, you have basically been able to dive in and get through a whole bunch of stuff. I'd like to let you introduce some of these new things.
Yeah, so it helps to have more people within the team. We have been for a long time only 2 working on the project. So that means we created some technical depth. We wrote some to-dos 7 years ago. We just fixed now. So yes, there was a lot of legacy stuff. Yes, Matrix was evolving as crazy, and we were not able to follow new things that was happening in the iOS ecosystem. So yes, we have still legacy things, but we have planned to move to the next generation.
So I know that one of the problems you had was that web was often the test platform and it would get the new features, and iOS was always in a position where you were obliged to just keep up, which meant that you were trapped in a way that you couldn't continue to benefit from the things that Apple was giving you because you were forced to keep up with Matrix itself.
Yes, definitely. And yes, we started the project using Objective-C because that was the easy choice. But then Swift appeared with several breaking version. So we took the safe route at that point. But now we are moving to Swift and. And yes, and also SwiftUI, but I will talk about it a bit later.
So please do, because I would love to. We heard a bit about this from Dave last week, but I'd love to know more about the relationship between Swift the language and Swift the SwiftUI the framework, and also to understand this is the future for Apple, and what are the benefits are we going to see? Like, are we going to see a native Mac app other than M1? These kinds of questions I'm quite curious.
Okay, so perhaps I can answer now. So SwiftUI replaced UIKit on iOS development. UIKit was mainly for iOS or iPad OS development, and it was a bit complex to work with that. So now we have SwiftUI where you can declare the UI by code, which make things much more easier instead of having some XML field with some hexadecimal values.
Yeah.
So now with the SwiftUI, you can understand the UI by reading it.
Right. Good. Yeah.
So,
okay.
so this is much more better, and yes, it comes with a Swift. So you have a lot of very good tools to make it to make you productive, I would say.
I see. That sounds good.
So this is the plan we have. So at this time, right now, Dave is working on creating screen templates with a new implementation. We're using the architecture we have before, but we are separating things much better, having the view model, the view that can be in SwiftUI or in UIKit, because sometimes we need to fall back to UIKit because SwiftUI is not ready.
Right. Okay.
And we will have also a layer to mock data. So that means that we will not depend anymore on the Matrix SDK. So we'll be able to build the app much more quicker. And with SwiftUI, you have the preview available on Xcode. So so you see directly what you are changing in this hot preview.
No more fighting with interface builder and the simulator and these things. Okay.
Yeah, true. So this is where we expect better productivity. And also, this is much more nicer to work in this condition instead of waiting 5 minutes to see the result when you change the color of the button.
Ridiculous, isn't it? Yeah. I mean, it's the. I want to say it's the best that they can do, but I mean, Apple have just dragged their heels, I think. All right, so let's talk about some of the concrete steps that have been made recently, because I feel sometimes like iOS doesn't get its, well, the mobile apps in general don't get as much promotion as they really deserve. Recently, VoIP has been a pretty big focus, making improvements there. What's been going on?
I would say we have to thank our customers because there are some work like that are promoting by Element customers. So that allows us to prioritize things. So on this area, we iterate on the Matrix protocol for the signaling of VoIP to make it more robust, to make it work better. And then we refreshed also all the UI to be more consistent across platforms, basically.
Yeah. The UI work is the thing that's impacted me the most. I mean, I'm not using iOS, but just knowing that it's consistent across the platforms is great. And also just, all the work that we should give thanks to Gail, the designer there. She did a fabulous job with that.
Yeah. And there is also voice messages.
This isn't strictly VoIP, of course. This is using files.
Yes, definitely. But this is also a feature that we prioritize thanks to a customer, and this is something that was aligned also by our users. So yes, when things are aligned like that, this is very good.
Yeah, I mean, we should shout out then that these customers are. They're driving Matrix development forward, not only by providing the finances, but by defining the product definition of the direction that the product needs to go in. There's nothing like knowing what somebody really wants than them coming to you and asking for them to pay for it. So that's exactly what we need.
Yeah, so that are features that we have made in application teams. So a set of people very dedicated to those features. So we made it on all platforms, and then on iOS we had more bandwidth to improve the platform, the iOS platform by itself.
Great.
So we made a lot of UI changes. Now we have a left panel where you can access to your user profile settings and things like that. Like on Android, you are more an Android user. We have a new text composer with the voice message button. So we changed the architecture of the room with a new room header as well. Plenty of things like that, basically.
So there's a new screen for the room info. Is that what I think of as the right panel from web?
Exactly, true.
Okay.
Yeah. So we introduced this intermediate screen before going to the room settings. You can access to other things. But
Gotcha.
Yes, it's a very similar to Element Web, but except on mobile.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. And then the room list itself. The room list is often the landing page for a chat app. So actually, the room list seems like a utility screen. It's not. It's probably the welcome screen in some ways.
Yes, definitely. So we from D0, I would say, we merge those room lists with local with the local contacts, so that we thought at that time that it was easier to ping someone or introduce someone to the matrix, and also the public room directories was also displayed at the bottom of your rooms. So it was a bit weird for new users, where you thought that when you start with a new app, things will be empty, but then you saw this public room directory that can be a bit scary for a new user.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, especially depending on what's in the public room directory. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be able to show that. All right. So next, then, actually, this is quite fun because we talked to Doug last week about his work on the Papercuts, but we didn't really dive into much of what he was doing. But the Papercuts, I noticed you've put in our shared notes here. So many.
Yes, yeah, this is really great because Doug joined us really recently, but he had a lot of impacts on the app. So yes, there are a lot of Papercuts or polishment we can do we could do in the iOS app. So at the moment we are just trying to prioritize them. But yes, because of the legacy code and the delay we took, yes, Doug is working on that. And a few examples could be a better notification message management. So for example, he added a notification when there is a reaction, which was not supported before. But it was a small thing that was a bit hurting. Yes, he's working on the URL preview. So that was a feature. It is a feature that was missing on iOS. It will be released on Monday and on test flight tomorrow. So it's very hot.
Which is today, actually, right? Friday.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, cool.
Yes, sorry.
No problem.
And yes, other things like media size selection.
Is that for uploads?
Yes, for upload. Perhaps you don't want to upload a 4K videos when you are on mobile network.
Definitely. Or if you're on your own 1 gigabyte home server.
Yeah. Yes. So yes, Doug is working on this area. There is so much things to do, but it's already visible. Right.
So the next list I see here is performance, and I haven't, because I'm not an iOS user, I haven't got to share in the joy that apparently all iOS users are feeling with this latest version. But yeah, people are citing 3 to 4x improvements, which is incredible.
Yeah, so we had time to give love to the SDK. This is something we have not done for 3 or 4 years. So Ismail is working on those areas. So the first thing we already shipped a few months ago was to prevent any usage of the UI main thread. So the app is no more stuck because there was some background process like decrypting a message. And that was the to-do. The to-do I talked earlier, we wrote 7 years ago. So the UI is no more freezing.
Right.
And yes, about the startup improvement that we will ship, that we will release on Monday on the App Store. Yes, basically on a medium account like me, the startup moved from 6 seconds to 2, I would say.
It makes such a difference because it's your first impression, and it just feels snappier.
Yeah, it's your first, not really your first impression, because I have 800 rooms, I think.
For that session, I should say. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yes, and our goal is to have an instant start. So that will come next.
Yeah, is that on the immediate horizon? Oh, I can see on our future list. Yeah. right?
Yes, I would say perhaps in 1 month.
Amazing. All right, so there's some iOS technical stuff here about the project. Do you want to run through this stuff for the fans?
Yes, yes, because contributors probably noticed that as well. So yes, as the team was growing, we invest a bit on our own development environment. So we introduce Xcode Gen to be able to generate automatically Xcode project from a YAML file. So that avoids some merge conflict, because yes, again, Xcode files are kind of binary XML, I would
Right.
say.
Yeah.
We did a similar thing with the changelog file, where we introduce John Cryer, because before that we had stupid merge conflict on the changelog file.
Okay.
And we have CI back, which make us much more confident on what we release.
What do you mean back? I didn't know there was trouble with the CI.
So yeah, setting up a macOS environment is a bit complex, and on that we rely now on GitHub Actions, which offer 5 macOS runner for free, and
Brilliant.
and we don't need to take care about their administration. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
this is really good.
As I recall, at some point you had a Mac Mini just sat somewhere doing this. Is that right?
Yes, it's true, but it was a slow Mac Mini, and yeah, we have now 5 more machines and quicker machines. So instead of investing on hardware, we prefer to delegate this part.
Yeah, absolutely. If GitHub are going to do that, then let's rely on them. So much has been done. I think that people maybe, if they're using iOS all the time, then maybe they've noticed. But it's so good to see a massive collection of improvements coming in like this. What else have we got? What's the plan? Because you can't slow down now.
Yes, I would say that we can only accelerate. We just welcome some new people. We expect to hire even more people. So we will continue the acceleration. So as the thing that is missing on iOS at the moment is Spaces. So we will release it in 2 weeks.
Right? Yes.
And then there will be new features like threading that we will manage on all clients at the same time.
So threading is we're saying threading is after Spaces, but how long after? Because it's still in the planning stages, isn't it?
That will be in parallel, because that will be other people working on that. So now we can do things in parallel.
Yeah, amazing. Yeah, having multiple staff, incredible.
Yes, and then the VoIP team will work on the full mesh conference calls. So Robert made some demo for web, but we expect to have that on mobile as well.
Yeah,
For
I'm
sure.
looking forward to seeing more demos from Robert, just because it's really exciting how much stuff is coming out there. We'll make another Matrix Live soon, I think, featuring some of that work.
Yes, it's evolving very quickly. Yes, and then there are smaller things like having a better app navigation. At the moment, we are not able to keep your navigation history within the app, so you cannot move from one room to another room nicely. So we want to improve that for sure. So Steve is working on that. At some point, we'd like to change the authentication screen. Because it's very ugly. We made it in 2014. We didn't change it at all. And yes, we added a lot of things at the top of that. It's really hard to maintain and to change. So yes, we will write it. We will rewrite it very soon.
So this is the screen that has the username and password, the home server selector, and also presumably some sort of SSO mechanism attached to it.
Exactly. Yeah. So yes, it's not a really great first experience for a new user.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it? I mean, I think it varies for users because if they've just downloaded it from the App Store out of the blue, then they're a very different type of user from somebody whose company has told them to install this app and to use SSO. It's a completely different experience, actually.
Yes, in terms of UX, this is hard because we are a decentralized app, and we need to explain that to users
Yeah.
because most of them don't care about selecting a server.
Yeah.
They just want to use the app.
They don't know. They don't know or care. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's hard.
So even if on Android, which has good authentication screen, we are improving it. So we are doing another iteration with designers so that people will better understand what's there. And perhaps this is also a good way to explain them what is metrics. So
Onboarding at the same time. So
yeah.
there's an interesting question. You raised the point that you think that the Android onboarding flow is better because of their landing screen. How much of that can you repurpose for the sake of iOS, and how much of it needs to be platform specific? I mean, in terms of the UI. Obviously, the code is completely different.
That would be probably the same. The thing is that we rebuild the Android app 2 years ago.
Yeah.
At that time we were able to work again on the authentication screen. So that's why we Android has had already an iteration on that. We need another one, and iOS will implement the very last iteration. But the two authentication screen should be similar, except for SSO when we need to display the authenticate the login with Apple. Obviously.
Right. Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, so the one big thing about keeping these apps consistent is, especially around enterprise customers who have their own support needs, they need it to be basically the same because they need to have only one set of instructions for their users and a smaller surface to support. We brought this up. Oh, sorry.
On that, yes, we have really good support from a designer and a product owner now.
Definitely, yeah.
Before that, we were only crazy developers.
Developer UI is something a little endemic to the Matrix ecosystem, but the Element mobile apps are coming out of that now, I think.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, we should have a designers roundup, actually. Design and product are also growing, and they're doing some really exciting stuff. I get so intimidated. How do I ask designers what their process is and so on? I'm too scared. So we talked about it a little bit earlier. Instant Start, we've got a note here. Yeah. What does that really mean? Why can't you just load a shell of the application and then lazy load the rooms? Why is an Instant Start something that just doesn't happen?
This is not an easy question. So the metrics protocol is quite verbose. We made a mistake when we started working on the SDK at the very beginning of the project, where we didn't implement a cache in the first iteration. So there was so many rooms like now. So it was enough to run an initial sync on every startup.
Yeah.
So we added later this cache, but this cache was just a screenshot of what we get from the metric server. But we need to have some cache on the data we built that we display directly to the user.
Yeah, I see.
So if you want to display a room list, basically you want to have a summary on every room, and this summary is the room name, the avatar, and also the last message. But this takes time to compute.
Mm-hmm.
So at the beginning of the project, it was fine to compute it from scratch on every startup, but now it's impossible. So yes, we need another cache layer where we will put where we will store those room summaries.
Right, got it. Okay, so the basic thing is to have a cache ready on startup.
Yeah, and basically, yes, Matrix is a kind of decentralized database, and the game for clients is also to synchronize their own database with the server database. So Matrix is quite verbose, and this is where we need to improve things. But
we talked earlier. I made you go off script and talk about SwiftUI earlier. Do you just want to recap the future plans for SwiftUI?
Yeah. So we want to write some templates so that people will create new strings directly from those templates with all the boilerplate ready to use. And on this one, we want to propose the architecture we want to use. And yes, so this boilerplate should be good for users to start quickly implementing a screen. And yeah, perhaps I can add that those template will use data from a mock service or from a service implemented with the actual Matrix SDK, but you could implement it using another SDK.
Right.
And the long-term plan or the mid-term plan will be to use another SDK for the iOS app. The goal at Element is to focus more on the product side, so more on the UX side and application side.
Yep.
And it's a bit boring and annoying to write SDK twice or three times.
Yeah, for sure.
So we will try to converge on that. There is already a work in progress to integrate the crypto part of the REST SDK within the Android, then iOS. So that means that the iOS and Android team will not care anymore about crypto, but that will be delegated to a crypto team.
So you just have to do the bindings and the UI, and the maths can be done by the Rust team.
Yeah, so we will focus on that to release the best app as possible.
Yeah, I think it makes so much sense to delegate this stuff into another SDK, and we have demand for a REST SDK at the same time. So to have a built-in customer in the form of the Element mobile apps is so convenient for everybody there. Yeah,
and on that we'll try to evolve slowly, reusing the existing code base. So all the stuff we are doing regarding SwiftUI is in the same repo, and the app will move slowly with the new stuff. Obviously, there will be feature missing if you are not using the last iOS version. But last time I checked, more than 99% of our users are able to use SwiftUI.
Wow, more than 99%.
Yeah.
I mean, is that because our users tend to be on the latest and greatest, or is that to Apple's credit that they are supporting so well?
Yeah, so they support that for phones that are 7 years old.
All right, that is impressive. Okay.
Yeah, this is not Android.
Yeah, okay. Apple's legacy. All right, Manu, that was an absolutely mammoth summary of the state of iOS. Is there anything you wanted to throw in at the end?
Yeah, so yes, if we can have more people, we will be happy. We have a job offer. So yes, please look at element.io and join this crazy team.
Definitely. So you're looking for everything, right? Android, iOS, everybody.
Yes, element.io is looking for a lot of different profiles.
Of course we are.
Anyway.
Yeah, I can see that. All right. Thank you, Manu.
Thanks, Ben.
And thank you, Matrix Live.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.